I'm going to ask you, what if you didn't have to worry about the shopping at all? Like, what if an AI assistant could take care of everything for you, from perhaps choosing the gift to comparing prices to actually checking out and doing the buying process for you? That's the idea behind something called Agentic commerce. And that's really where an AI agent, they don't just help you shop, that they actually do the shopping for you. It's almost like a personal shopper, really. And I thought it was really worth talking about ahead of the festive rush. And joining me now to discuss this is Daumantas Grigaravicius. He is head of the Middle East at Adyen. They're a global payment platform. They work with the likes of Google, Facebook, Meta. I think they do Booking.com to build the framework behind how we pay for things online, essentially. Daumantas joined me in the studio to discuss this. Hi, Daumantas. Thanks so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's start. I've tried to explain what agentic commerce is badly, probably. How is it different from the AI we've already seen with online shopping?
Yeah, sure. So, firstly, it's developing fast. So I'm sure, the definition will change next year to what it is now. But as we see it now, we go on to ChatGPT or other tools where we will then search for suggestions, show me the best shoes or whatever within a budget. That part we're familiar with. Agentic commerce, what it will do is it will take the kind of like 4 stages, which is, the discovery, the selection, the purchase, and the post-purchase into 2 stages. You put in the prompt, I'm looking for some sneakers, £100 or, 500 dirhams, get them to me before Friday. And it will basically do all of the comparison, and then it will check out for you. And the post-purchase is, if you don't like them, if they don't fit and you want to do a return. So that's kind of the biggest difference, is it takes those 3 stages, which we are doing, to 1, which the agent will be doing.
So 1st December, if I had all my children's Christmas lists and they were all e-commerce based, could I stick it into a chatbot and say I need this all by the 20th of December and it, fingers crossed, should do it for me?
Yeah, in principle, yes. So right now, these are kind of being tested. There are 1 or 2 that are live, but I would say it's probably a little bit early. But yeah, this would be the perfect use case. For example, kids' toys. Very easy to compare. There's a price point, there's a quality, there's a color, whatever. Things that are very binary. So when you put that list in, the agent will then be able to compare, find where is the cheapest option. And also, over time, it will know what you like. So if you search for things for your kids, it will remember that, and it will kind of bring the things that it knows that you're familiar with or you like, and then make the actual purchase. So yeah, in principle, maybe next year, maybe the year after, put a list in and, see what turns up.
In theory, could you ask an agentic commerce agent to track prices for you and buy it at the right price? Or is it not that far yet?
Yeah, I think that's probably something that would come over time. I know that historically, that's always been something that, businesses have tried to create. But it's not, I don't think it's quite there yet.
There used to be an app I used in the UK. I think it's called Price Runner or something. And I'd put like all my kids stuff in it, and then I just watch it like a hawk every morning, and to see how the prices, a bit like the markets but with children's toys. But I mean, that would be certainly making Christmas a little bit more affordable.
For sure.
How does the infrastructure work? Like, how does it actually pay on your behalf?
Yeah, sounds good. So the way that we're building it is that we're not favoring any what we call protocols. So you have like wallets, you have OpenAI, ChatGPT. These are all places we would go to kind of initiate. We're more like the foundational layer. So we basically give the business the ability to accept payments from any of those protocols. And typically the way that we're building it is that you have a credit card or a debit card that has a long 16-digit code on it or number on it. We use what's called tokens to basically hide that number and give it let's call it a reference, which then allows us as a payment processor and the business who is actually selling you an item to recognize you. So that token would go between, ChatGPT to the customer via a company like Adyen. And it would have, the explicit approval or consent from you that you can make this purchase on my behalf. And that's something that would travel, again, from the protocol via the payments company to the seller, the business, so that everyone knows that this is an actually initiated transaction that you are aware of and not just the agent kind of doing a purchase as it wants.
Yeah, we've had a message in from Amir here saying, how is our security and privacy protected here? It's always going to be a big question, isn't it?
Of course. I think it's the biggest question right now. So there's a couple of layers to it. I think that the first thing that we have to understand is with the introduction of AI, a lot of the regular checks that we are familiar with, your ID, a bank statement, your address, I can go into ChatGPT and create a new ID for myself, probably, you know, with 1 or 2 prompts. So the whole kind of way that we look at these documents needs to change. We've created something called dynamic identification, where we don't necessarily look at static, checks like that, but more behavior. So take me, for example, I wake up, I use my card to fill in at a petrol station. I then go and stop for a coffee at Starbucks around between, 9 to 10. I order lunch from Deliveroo between 12 and 1. On the way home, I stop at Spinneys. That's kind of like my pattern. And that is a lot harder to fake than just an ID. So that's kind of what we've built and how we're approaching it, so that when, fraud or new ways of doing fraud happen, we fall back on that method to check that actually it is you and not, an agent or a person using an agent doing the kind of fraud.
I mean, it sounds incredible in terms of saving time, perhaps even saving money.
Yeah.
But how do brands perhaps maintain control over their customer relationships with this? If there's you're not actually visiting their website, you're not seeing those targeted ads because the agent's doing it all for you.
Yeah. So you're right. There's no login. You're not even on the website, most likely. So this is where that tokenized version of your card becomes useful. So whenever a business sees a particular token, they will recognize that is consumer A. And so if there's loyalty, they top up your account. If there's an offer they want to send you, they know that you've made 3, 4, 5 purchases over the last month, and they're going to send you an offer. So that token is very key to those businesses.
Gosh, they're still going to get me with those targeted ads somehow, aren't they?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Do you think retailers, certainly in the UAE, are ready for this shift?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely everyone is exploring it. The big advantage that we have is that around 70%, according to our retail report we did this year, of people are already using AI to look for items. So they're very familiar with the whole interface and how they interact with it. Now, I think, it's more around the businesses adopting it. And then probably, regulation and what happens there. It may not be something that gets regulated straight away, but most likely the central bank or, the other financial free zones will have a look at putting together some sort of regulation to make sure that as to, the guest's question, security is kind of kept top of mind.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I can't wait for it to kick in, as in terms of somebody that's very time poor. I'd appreciate being able to stick my Christmas list in at the start of December into a chatbot and it do it for me. Thank you so much for your time. That was Daumantas Grigaravicius. He's head of the Middle East at Adyen. They're a global payments platform, working with the likes of Google, Booking.com to build a framework behind agentic commerce. I'd love to know, do you see it as a friend or a foe? Get in touch. 4001 is the message number. Right, let's have a look.